All right, Berean, welcome back. Another week, another installment of the Where Are They Now edition of our interview chapels. Folks, I am joined by another familiar face from the class of 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexis Brooks. Yeah.
Everybody, good to
Hey,
see you.
hey, welcome. And so you told me before we started recording that you've been watching the chapels and the interviews that we've done this year. So now it's your turn. Well, welcome.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, all right. Well, you know the kind of questions I've been asking your peers. So what have you been doing since graduation?
Oh my gosh. A lot has happened since graduation. Really just trying to make sense of all that's been happening from COVID. It's made a big reset on all of our lives. At the same time, it kind of felt like almost in slow motion because of all the shut-ins. You couldn't really go anywhere or do anything.
Hmm.
Um, but I had just transitioned to a new church and I got involved in their tech ministry. And so when all COVID happened, they adapted church service to outside. And we had enough on our property where we can set up like a little drive-in type service thing. People could stay in their cars,
Hmm.
and we can have service outside. And we set up with a radio station so they can listen to it in their cars so they wouldn't have to get out because of COVID. And during that time, I basically got a head start on how to set up like live venues because it was every Sunday
Hmm.
setting up live venues and trying to tear it down so none of the equipment got messed up. But all of that, there's probably a lot more. Oh, I had a drive-in birthday party before I
Yeah.
went off to college, and that was an interesting experience.
A drive in or a drive through?
A drive through, my
Drive through.
bad. A drive through, because people couldn't stay around. You couldn't really
Yeah.
invite people to the house, so it was so strange. We had to open up our garage so people could just drive by and balloons and everything. So
Yeah. Well, you had a drive through birthday, you had a drive through graduation. Sounds like you started taking up some tech challenges with your church. And then the fall came and you enrolled in what university?
Masters University.
All right, Master. I've heard of Masters before. I know you have a couple of friends down there with you. Who else from Berean is going to Masters?
As far as I know, there's only two people. There's Will Batts. He's on the baseball team here, and he's really,
Yeah.
really good. And Tyler Dresdo, we used to lead chapel back when we were at Berean. I want to say they're in the same class. They graduated the same class,
Yeah.
if we remember. But as far as I know, those are the only two.
Yeah. Well, I know Will's tearing it up in baseball. He's their best pitcher and winning a lot of games. And Tyler, he's doing great. So that's cool to hear their names come up. But what about you? How's your master's experience going?
Oh, wow. Masters, they are very hospitable to their students, faculty, and returning students alike. You can obviously tell who the seniors are just by how friendly they are.
Hmm.
um, People have great respect for their faculty. Every professor is a master and excelling in their field of study. We have chapel 3 times a week, which that is awesome, and it's at the start of every day.
Yeah.
Um, the doctrine is solid, it's unwavering. They have an unapologetic reverence for the Word of God. It's
Hmm.
unapologetic.
No
Our
doubt.
athletic teams are awesome. We're high in the NAIA rankings, so those are really cool. And we're based in a residential area, kind of like how Berean is, and we're in a canyon, so you can imagine all of the thrilling adventures I get to go on just to try to find two
Yeah.
bars of service.
Yeah.
We
Well,
don't have enough Wi-Fi out here.
no, no, it's in a beautiful setting. That's cool to hear. Well, that's awesome. I think back on your career at Berean, and one of the greatest moments, and as the principal of the school, was seeing you sing the national anthem before the
Oh,
basketball game that you played in.
mm-hmm.
That was the coolest thing ever. And it wasn't like, there's some. If you go on YouTube and search, national anthem, there's some really bad ones. No, not yours, not yours. Yours was, I mean, stadium quality, like Super Bowl pregame quality. Like it took your breath away. And so, are you tell me you are still singing somewhere? Tell me that.
Mrs. H will be happy to know I'm in a college choir. So, and I bumped up to middle from alto, so I'm challenging myself. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no,
I'm
I know that. I mean, that's a unique thing to see someone in a sports uniform be the same one that sings the national anthem. So I love that moment. It's something I'll never forget and cherish. And I'm happy to hear that you're still in choir, you're still doing it, taking all those skills from Mrs. Hazelrig and pouring it out with the blessing of a great voice that God has given you. And you already talked about choir. I'm sure you've made friends there, but talk about making friends in college. We got, some folks who are going to be in your shoes months from now, and they don't know what college is like. So talk about making friends and how that worked for you.
There is an interesting story actually about how I met my friends, and it's largely because of Zoom.
Zoom.
Zoom. So
Yeah.
we originally came, they had our orientations over Zoom. So we met the principal, we met all the counselors and stuff over Zoom. That was the first time we met our classes there. And there was an official app where they had our contact information so we could text in a group chat. But one of our friends was, do you want to take this to an iMessage group chat? So we started with about 30, 35 people on a group chat. And then it kind of dwindled and swayed every now and then. But we started talking and talking and talking on the group chat for almost every day. And this is about like a month and a half before we even physically came to campus. And we would Zoom each other all the time, almost every day. We would go on and Zoom for hours. We just start talking to each other. So I tell that story to returning students, and they're a bit shocked, like, we should have thought of that. It took me like 2 years to get out there and meet my friends. And so we kind of got over the hurdle of that first freshman anxiety, social anxiety. We got over that like very fast to the point where we could recognize each other immediately when we got to campus. We immediately hung out, went to the beach, and did all kind of things with each other. So
Awesome. Well, okay, so now there's a debate. There's a debate going on. NorCal versus SoCal. Now you're a SoCal person from NorCal. Now, keep in mind that you have some. Most people who are watching are from Northern California, but tell us what's better, NorCal or SoCal?
oh boy, if you are one for the arts, if you are one for more sun, SoCal all the way. At the same time, there's traffic everywhere.
Boo.
Everyone knows how to drive out here.
Yeah.
Every always got somewhere to be for some reason. So
Yeah.
I'm in Santa Clarita. I'm just on the northern outskirts of LA. I'm not quite in LA area. And there's still traffic all around us. People coming out all the time, and
Yeah.
you get to us before you get to LA when you come out of the Grapevine. So you get traffic all the time.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of beaches where you can go, so many things you can do, lots of restaurants you can go to, shopping. It's a hub, and there's a lot more things. So I
Well,
appreciate
I
that.
I looked at Master's website and I was checking it out a little bit. It looks like very interesting, and they had some interesting majors that you could major in. Like one of them was sports management. Like you could learn to be like a sports agent or an administrator at a small college or even a university or even a pro sports franchise. I thought that was really unique. Most universities don't offer that. But tell me, what are you majoring in there at Masters?
Oh boy. So mine's a bit interesting. So in fullness, it's audio production and communications. The specific discipline, mainly the one that I want to go into as a career, is a recording engineer. What is all that? Um, Basically, I'm the lovely lady who works in the studio. Well, this is my joke. While Kanye West is in the booth on the other side of the glass trying to sing his crazy ideas for his new gospel album. I'd be the one there behind the glass, just, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
You just paid me to record all of this. Or, but I'm in the studio and I get to work with artists and musicians, speech, the whole 9 yards. I get to record all those people. I get to learn music business. That's the communication side. I get to learn how the industry works. Where can I find myself there? How do I navigate it
Mm-hmm.
all? That's the big thing. Me going in as like a new young person, trying to get the experience, trying to get my foot in the door. How do you navigate such a big business like that? That's
Mm-hmm.
like the main business around here, aside from Hollywood, in the LA area. And so when you're in a hub like this, you got to figure out how things work. Otherwise, you might get lost. So, but
Yeah.
I love it, and it's awesome.
Well, I mean, no doubt. I mean, just to hear you say that, you think, God has his people everywhere, right? In every nook and cranny, every business, every walk of life, in order for his people to make a difference for him, right? To rub shoulders with people who don't know him, and to proclaim the gospel. So that's neat. That's neat to think about. Down in Hollywood, God has folks like you, spreading the gospel and working in the booth. That's really cool. Well, tell us what kind of classes have you taken this year?
I would not recommend this, but the average credits you take are about 12 to 18 credits you have to take. I'm taking 24.
What? You're trying to finish in 2 years?
In my defense, they're all classes that I love with professors that are super awesome and they make it so doable. So in my defense, I love all my classes. But specifically, I have one Bible class. It's not with Dr. Chow. Sorry, Mr. Richter. I had him last
Oh yeah,
semester.
I heard of him. I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yes. I'm having a music fundamentals class, a class where I study popular music since the late 1800s till the present.
Nice.
A Pro Tools class, which is the professional standard software used in all studios, and how can I learn that? If I don't learn that, it's very difficult to get a job if you don't know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, I'm in a choir called the University Singers. We're going to be, I believe, recording a live concert at the end of March, coming in early April. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Taking voice lessons.
Wow. Wow. Well, are you teaching the class or you're getting voice lessons? That doesn't
I'm
make sense. You should be teaching that class. Like, just
Mhm.
tell people, just do it like me. Just do it like me. Oh,
I
that.
want under my belt that I've never been classically trained before. So to have that experience that I've been in a class before where my teacher is like classically training me how to sing.
Oh, you were classically born. You you have it. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that sounds like a great schedule for the year. Now, I know if you have watched the previous interviews I've done, I've asked everybody about finding a church and campus ministries. Like, maybe the most important thing, especially for those who go to a public university, is to be grounded with the church, and they know you might only be there for 4 years, and for your case, you're trying to get out of there even faster. But it's nevertheless so important, to find a local church, who can support you and encourage you and teach you the Word of God. So tell me, how did that go for you? And looking for a church and finding one.
All right. So for churches around here, especially like at the beginning, a lot of them were just doing live streaming, so
Hmm.
pretty much anyone can go to. I've had the privilege to go to Grace Community Church. That's pastored by Dr. John MacArthur, who is now the chancellor of our university, but he used to be the president of our university.
Hmm.
So it was really cool to meet him, shake his hand, and see what it's like in his ministry. Though I'm not going to that church, I'm still actually streaming my church from home because I just recently made a transition. And so it didn't feel like I was ready to leave and already go to another church after I just spent like a year in this new church.
Yeah.
And I'm involved in the ministry there. So me and my mentor were talking about things. I'm basically monitor the live stream there at my church back home. So, they kind of need me during services sometimes. So,
Yeah.
I feel responsibility to stick with my church back home and help
Hmm.
them any way that I can because they're trying to keep up with all these things during COVID and keep up with restrictions and things like that. So, I get the honor to help the message be sent out to all of our members around the country and a few around the world.
Mm.
So, be a part of that ministry, I couldn't leave that.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome because you're serving in that way, and that's hard. That's hard to leave. No
Mhm.
doubt. Okay. I've loved this question too. I love the question about going from Berean, to college and asking, how did Berean prepare you for the next step, or how was your Berean experience in that transition to college?
Oh wow. Well, it did help me. I basically learned time management with a steady workflow. So how I'm able to
Hmm.
balance 24 credits of stuff, Berean.
Yeah, we work you hard, right? Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Kerr was the first one with advanced drama and backstage. I got to work with them with the boards, the sound boards, working music,
Hmm.
doing backstage stuff. I got to build sets for you guys back when I was there, and those were awesome times.
Hmm.
Learning about that back then, I figured out the Lord wanted me behind the scenes. Before then, I was like my mom. She always wanted to sing. She was the one on stage all the time. They wanted to record her and things like that. And I wanted to be just like her. But the Lord said, yes, you have those things, but I want you to thrive here. There's a whole other set, whole other um, area of gifts that I've given you that you
Mm.
haven't even discovered yet. So
Yeah.
here's how you're going to discover it. So thank you, Mr. Kerr.
Mm.
Mrs. H with Girls Crowd Abundant Life Singers.
Yeah.
Yes. Fear of the Lord and Total Praise are forever my top favorite songs to
Mm.
sing.
Yep. Yep.
Please sing them more.
Yep.
Mr. Richter was the first person to introduce Masters to me. Did not know anything about Masters till my junior year of high school.
Mm.
So that was interesting. And since then, the Lord has guided me back to that college. So it's been
Mm.
interesting. Um, can I just give a short shout out to all my favorite
Oh
people?
yeah,
Oh
indeed.
my God. Miss Nelson, Miss Merlino, Mr. Runyon, Mrs. Ori, Grant, Mrs. Walsh, Mr. and Mrs. Franklin, Miss Barnett, Miss Reese Saxon, Mrs. Creed, Mr. Wells, Miss Smith, Miss Naum, Mr. Brost, Mr. Adams, Dr. Young, and the three most awesome office ladies ever, Miss Anderson, Mr. Navarro, and Mrs. Loney, and to the rest of the staff for pouring into my life for 4 years. You guys are the best.
Oh
You guys are.
wow, that was beautiful. Oh man, and fast. Like, I mean, you must have a mind map of the campus. You just this is where that person is. That was so cool. And I want to say this. I think um, all four where are they now interviews have mentioned Mr. Richter or something. So every one of them, Mr. Richter's in, and students again, especially seniors. If you need help finding a local church at your university, he is the one to contact. Let him know about that.